Hello and welcome to Get Involved Referee podcast. I'm your host, David McDonald, and this week I'm delighted to say that we have both ex-Grade 1 officials Steve Conroy and Des Roach in the studio with us. Guys, how are you?
Oh, very well, thank you.
Very well, thanks for asking.
It's good to see you in, Steve. Normally you're just sitting at home with the slippers on, chilling out, relaxing with a glass of wine, I'd imagine.
Part-timer.
Yeah.
I love my slippers.
Steve, all I got last week was a blinking wind tunnel coming down the back of it. David and I are in here doing the hard work and you're out walking the dog.
Yeah. All the cars going by in Earth and Racket. That was a big edit, by the way. I'm just saying that.
Looking particularly dodgy walking the streets in Motherwell talking to you two.
Well, guys, it's been another busy weekend for referees across the UK, and as always, we're going to try and throw some light on the decisions from some of the grounds. Also coming up, we're going to chat about the referees will have to explain VAR decisions to stadium crowds and television audience in a 12-month trial starting at next month's FIFA World Cup in Monaco. That'll be interesting. And also the introduction of white cards in Portugal, Des.
I'll make my comment when that question comes up. Let's just say I don't think you'll be surprised at my answer.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I remember when FIFA first announced VAR was coming into the game. I was one of these guys that's sitting in a pub going, it's going to kill the conversation, we're going to have absolutely nothing to talk about. But my God, VAR coming into the game, we have got plenty to talk about, and it's just not going away, the conversations. I'm just going to say two words to you: Celtic penalty. Oh, wow. Why has VAR asked Kevin Clancy to review this incident at the weekend? Why has Kevin Clancy decided it was a penalty? I'd imagine most people have seen that incident now. Shots taken, it's come off a defender's foot, it's then went onto the hand of Efe Ambrose, and it must have been about 5 minutes. It felt like 5 minutes watching the game before the decision was made to send Kevin Clancy to the monitor to review it. Kevin's reviewed it and he's given a penalty.
And we've been saying it for quite some time now. It is at the farcical stage. It is a complete joke. Nobody in their worst imaginings could have thought that something like that would be given as a penalty. It's totally ludicrous, and if that continues, you pull the shutters down. Skill has been removed from football. If that can be deemed as an infringement, you give a foul against somebody, it's because they've done something.
Yep.
They've done something to hurt somebody, they've done something to, what was it, the old word, it was an affront to the laws of the game. If that can be taken as, a crime, something that needs to be acted upon, football's done. It's already, this stage, it's a complete lottery. You just boot the ball and see where it ends up. It's a farce.
Nobody put their hand up.
No.
Nobody claimed for the penalty. Nobody even knew when they stopped the game. You could see Kevin Clancy was getting information through his earpiece. Nobody thought for a second this could be a penalty. Nobody. I didn't see one fan, player, anybody test it.
I mean, there's two words that perfectly describe the situation at the moment. Utterly shambolic. It's making Scottish football look like a mockery, and it's making our referees look as if they're incompetent. How the VAR, I believe it was Craig Napier, who was in the studio, how he can possibly think that there is some merit in getting Kevin across to have a look at this. It's not a penalty. There is no opportunity for Ambrose to get his hand out the road. The only thing that maybe would have saved him if it was going to his face, because Connor Goldson got away with it a couple of weeks ago. But that was never a penalty. I'm actually disappointed that Kevin took it. I thought Kevin was a strong enough character that if he looked at it and went, no, I'm not taking that. And having spoken to some people who were at the game, they were totally bemused. They did not know what was going on. And if the fact that you're the only person in that stadium or in that VAR office that thinks it's a penalty, then you really need to have a good look at yourself.
The ball wasn't even goal. It was obviously the shot was taken. It was heading towards goals. The defender has made a touch in the ball. That's what put the ball onto Efe Ambrose's hand. So even if Efe's arm was removed from that equation, the ball's gone out for a corner kick.
Yep. And the defender's entitled to go for that challenge because he's trying to stop the potential goal opportunity for Celtic. But the fact that nobody was looking for it, Celtic were laughing all the way as soon as that penalty was awarded. And I can guarantee you, not one Celtic player, manager, coach, fan was expecting that to be given.
Nope. It is totally ludicrous. Where's Ambrose meant to put his arms?
I know.
No matter what you do now in the penalty area, if it touches your hand, he's not even looking at it. It rebounds behind him.
Ambrose probably doesn't actually realise it's hit him.
No, absolutely.
He looked bewildered. He's like, what is
everybody
what
looks bewildered. Yeah.
What he is checking here? There's nothing to check. And for weeks now, we've seen decisions where balls have come off Goldson's hands when he's put them up to his face to protect his face. Also, the ball coming in the box and Tawdry, I think it was, or not Tannadice, wasn't it? The ball hit his arm. Yep. These decisions haven't been given. Fair enough, because they're probably not penalties. Where you guys reckon it was a penalty, Goldson putting his hand in front of his face, but still, It's just
Deliberate-
never a penalty.
It's
Deliberate
utter,
and accidental.
It's madness. Utter madness.
And we don't see these farcical decisions made in England through the use of VAR. And it seems to just be perpetual to us at this moment in time.
I'm going to take slight issue with what you said earlier on, and it caged that slightly. It does make our guys look incompetent. It makes our guys look as though they do not have the faintest idea. But rest assured, every single week, they are acting on the instructions given to them. It's taken. We've said it's going to take somebody totally ballsy who's called to the monitor and goes, "Nah,
No.
thanks, but no thanks." But from what we can gather, they're meant to think as one. So if you're called to the monitor, pretty much you're meant to be on the same wavelength, VAR and the ref. So if you're called to the monitor, then you should be agreeing. That's what I'm.
You should be. You should be.
You should be. But these guys are acting on the instructions given to them.
So do you think there'd be repercussions then if Kevin Clancy had said, no, that's not a penalty? Do you think he'd receive repercussions for that decision?
I would like to think no, there wouldn't be repercussions. I would like to think that he would be supported by the people within the SFA, because it looks, see, if it looks stupid, it generally is stupid. And that was just ridiculous. What it comes down to, and as Steve's alluded to there, I've spoken to some SPL referees that are operating just now, and they are totally confused. The coaching that they're getting, the instructions that they're getting, it's forever moving. We're not going to get consistency. If the real words and the real instruction is coming from the top and it's wrong, then the referees are going to get wrong. They are completely frustrated in the way that this situation and system is working. The technology works, it's the people operating it.
Yep, absolutely.
Last week, IFAB held its annual business meeting in London. It was the 18th of January, actually. And there was various things spoken about, but apparently this wasn't spoken about, the handball rule. You would think that would have been front and centre of the conversation, because let's face it, it's what most of us are talking about in referee podcasts. It's what the newspapers are picking up on. It is an ambiguous term. We all know that. But do you think they've spoken about it and just not disclosed that they have spoken about it? Because surely IFAB getting together in London on 18th of January, they must have spoken about this, and there must be things happening in the pipeline.
There must be. And we, Scotland, we are, if memory serves, we're a 16th of the voting power of IFAB. We should be part of those discussions. But if we haven't been raising this and discussing this, then that's another failing on our part. But it could be as well that, as you said earlier on, you don't hear this, the handball stuff happening in England. You don't hear about it happening in Spain. Do they just look on I've used the phrase before, the country yokels, just have a laugh at us and not think that we're worth discussing? Because anybody worth their salt from the SFA must be bringing that up and saying to people, how are you interpreting handball?
Look at the appointments that our guys are getting in Europe. They're not. They're getting Conference League games. They're not doing Champions League. They're not doing group stages. They're not doing World Cups. So at this moment in time, our stock's as low as it's ever been. And I'm sorry, but it comes from the top and cascades down.
You've even got pundits now coming out and saying, just give us clarity. Just make it every single time that ball was touched in a box, regardless of a player has deliberately hit the ball into the hand of somebody, just make it a penalty. That way we all know where we stand and we know the rules. But right now it's clearly not. I'm just going to jump on the back of the IFAB stuff, okay? There will be a trial where FIFA tournaments over the next 12 months, there's ability for the referee, after a VAR decision has been made, to announce to the stadium and broadcast audience what has happened and to clarify the decision. So the first one is going to be next month's FIFA World Cup in Monaco. Here's my genuine question to the SFA, because I know they are fans of the podcast, right?
They listen avidly.
Yes. I want your answer as well. If Kevin Clancy had to announce to a stadium full of supporters and Sky Sports his decision to award Celtic a penalty on Saturday, how would that go?
That would go down like a lead balloon.
Yep.
What would he say? Like, you've got the rules, the way they're written, and then he's going to try and have to, I don't know how it's going to work, justify the rules.
Well, these guys would need to be much more diplomatic than Des and I ever were, because they're going to have to come out. You either take the bullet yourself and say, I saw it as a handball, I saw it as a deliberate malicious act in the penalty area, so it's worthy of a penalty. Or, and again, it would take somebody who's completely ballsy to come out and say, we have been instructed that constitutes a penalty.
Yeah. Asking that question, saying, would you rather be shot or stabbed?
No.
You're putting them in front of a gallery. It's just turning into NFL, isn't it? Our referees are going to be running about with a cap and a black and white top on and pressing a button to explain. I don't understand why FIFA are wanting that to come in. I think it completely undermines the referee, but given the way that the handball is being judged at the moment, it's completely undermining the referee and their ability to make their own decision whether something is intentional or not. The laws have gone to pot, hell in a handcart.
I mean, deliberately touches the ball with her hand, stroke, arm, for example, moving a hand, arm towards the ball. FA Ambrose didn't do that.
No.
Touches the ball with her hand, arm, when it has made their body unnaturally bigger. A player is considered to have made their body unnaturally bigger when the position of their arm, hand is not the consequence of a justifiable with a player body movement. So he's not done these things.
No,
So how can a referee come out and say, right, this is how I'm going to explain it? He clearly can't. He can't say he's made himself bigger, because everyone looking at us going, no, he never. He deliberately touched it. No, he never.
Absolutely. I'm flabbergasted that anybody, and the most flabbergasting aspect of it, and I'm not sure if we mentioned it, look, we've all made a mistake with penalties. So you could say Kevin missed it or Kevin gave it, whatever way, and he made the mistake. Fair enough. You can, you're hung by your own petard. But for a second set of eyes to look and consider it for 5 minutes and come up with that being a penalty, it's ludicrous.
There's no justification, and we can discuss this as long as we want, come up with numerous hypotheses of what's on there. It was just blatantly wrong.
We've said it before, now I'll say it again. Our guys are being flung under the bus.
Yep.
They're being hung out to dry. Not a word from the referee department, not a single word since Crawford came out and crowed about the introduction of VAR and having a go at us and saying, if we've got the technology, you wouldn't sign somebody in the close season and not put them in your squad. Not a single word.
Well, if anybody's listening from the SFA and they want to go on the podcast, they're more than welcome.
Well, see if
they'll come in, Steve will make you a coffee and we can sit and we can chat about these things. 'Cause ultimately, as football fans, all we want is clarity, because right now you're watching a football, you just don't know what
see if the decisions were correct. And I'll reference back to the Jackie Mackis one in the Celtic Kilmarnock with Willie Coleman and the VAR. We've got this one as well at the weekend. See if these decisions were correct. They should be coming out and championing the referees for getting it correct and backing them up and bigging them up. Now, you're talking Willie, who's allegedly our top referee. Come out and back him up. Do you know what? Give him that support. The silence is deafening. Now, the fact that they are saying nothing, to me, says, aye, we ballsed up there. We got that wrong. But how you can defend it, well, to me, you can't defend it.
It's crazy as well. You've got Morton, I think the manager's Dougie Emery, is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they started the game well. They had a couple of shots on target. They were playing nice football. You don't expect them to go there and beat Celtic and under Celtic's current form. But as soon as they get that penalty given against them, it's just, tactics are out the window now. Yeah. And the players must have felt so deflated losing a penalty that nobody in the stadium thought it was a penalty, bar the referee. And then that's it. Their game's over technically, because Celtic then go and run away with it. And Morton's hopes are now dashed. But I'm not saying if the penalty was never given, Morton would have won the game. Definitely not saying that. I don't think that would have happened. But, you might got this first half.
It's a negative impact on the game.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it happens across games across the UK all the time. I think, the big incident down south last week was the Leicester-Brighton game. I think I sent you guys a clip of that. I mean, you look at Gillette Soccer Saturday. You get Chris Boyd sitting, he's commentating on the game. He goes to Jeff, it's a penalty for Brighton, it's going to be 2-1 here. Definitely going to be a penalty. Yep. Oh yeah. No, that's a penalty every day of the week. Brilliant. Penalty. Jeff, no, it's not a penalty. No, it's not been given. Then goes to Jeff, who's sitting there absolutely stunned. He's watching the replays as well, going, how's that not a penalty? Everyone in the world can see that's a penalty. VAR didn't even go to it. It didn't even go to get a referee to go and check the monitor. Quick check of it. No, it's not a penalty.
But remember, VAR was and is never ever going to be a panacea. People will make mistakes. No matter what, we will always get incidents like that where it's an opinion. Did you think it was a foul inside the penalty area? Did you not? I still think that anything contentious like that should go back to the referee. That's a personal opinion.
Yes.
But it will never, ever eliminate. You'll never get perfection when humans are involved. But that one is different, I think, from all the handballs that have been happening up here, because that is systemic. That's what our guys are being instructed to do. The Leicester one, it was glaring, absolutely glaring. But I don't think that you can criticise VAR because of that, because that's just been two people that have mucked it up. Is that
not also where, and I've said before, is that not where the referee should be allowed to say, I want to have a look at it because it's so fast, so quickly? I'm sure if the referee had made the call for himself to go across and look at it, obviously you'd like to think you'd have overturned the decision and awarded a penalty. But the referee should be, you've got technology from the earpieces when you can talk to each other. You've got technology with the buzzer flags. You've got technology now that's at the side of the park, that's a TV screen. Surely you, as the man in the middle, you should have that prerogative for you to decide, I want to have a look at that.
I would think so. But again, you take it to extreme, you're going to review every incident.
Of course.
But tennis, you've got, what is it, three times you can question the referee, the court decision. Have 3 calls where you can say, no, I think I might have mucked that up.
Yeah.
You go and review it. Why not?
Do you bring in more VAR referees into that booth?
No.
You just have one?
Too many cooks.
Yeah.
I think it should only be the correspondence between the referee and the VAR who are sitting there with the best view of all.
Well, the current cooks just now are not serving very good dishes, let's be honest.
That's what we're agreeing with that. But we're still laying the blame full square with whoever's giving them their instructions.
SFA, you are to blame. But you're still welcome in for a coffee and a chat, so feel free to get in touch with us.
Bring the biscuits.
Off the back of the meeting with IFAB as well, they failed to agree on trialling a rugby-style temporary concussion substitute. So that would basically be when a player needs to be assessed, he's taken off the field of play, he's assessed by a medical examination. Steve, you're a doctor, it's close to your heart. How can IFAB and governing bodies not agree to a temporary substitution for concussion? I mean, surely it prevents long stoppages, gives players opportunity to properly be assessed. Yeah, why not? That's a crazy decision, is it not? I mean, at least trial it, at least give us something. They're trialling, refs talking to fans in the stadium and broadcasters. They're bringing out white cards. Surely the player's health is just as important as anything else, or probably the most important thing, actually.
I was going to say, much more important than white cards or talking to explain a decision to the stadium. It's absolutely shocking, and it's a complete loss of
negligence.
Responsibility. They are responsible for the health and well-being of the people in their charge. That's footballers, whether it's at Rook Glen on a Saturday or whether it's at the Bernabeu. It's the exact same. There is no justification. And I keep banging on when you see the statistics about the number of chronic neurological conditions that sportsmen, footballers included, who suffer. Now, you can't prove it for definite, but you've got Fernando Rickson died of MND, you've got Doddy Weir died of MND, you've got Billy McNeil died of advanced dementia. This is all head injury related. Now, things can happen, and it can be just your luck that you get things like MND, but the statistics for sports people is shocking.
The fact that they've taken away heading for youth football in training, you're not allowed to head the ball in training. Surely if someone gets a force to the head during a game, get them off, get them assessed, look after them. You're there, it's your duty of care for all 22 people on that pitch. So why would they not go and look at this as an option? And you're giving, the team aren't going down to 10 players, you're bringing on a substitute to replace them. If the player's deemed that he can't resume, brilliant, because the medical people are looking at him and the medical people are making that medical assessment for the benefit of that young footballer or who has a family, who may have children, may have a wife. That's the most important thing. Because
right now you're going to have, somebody's going to have a head knock. The medical team come on, they might just be a couple of feet away from the lines that take them off the pitch. That medical examination is now taking place. The manager's looking across going, when can he go back on? I'd imagine the player's adamant he's good enough to go back on. Doesn't matter how concussed he is, he probably feels he wants to go back on and play with his teammates. The medical doctor, again, if he does anything wrong, that'll be negligence on his part. So he wants to get the player back on, but his priority is clearly the player's health as well. Just get him off, put a temporary sub on for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long it takes to do a proper examination, and then just revert back. They have the concussion subs at the moment, where you can make a full additional substitute. As far as we're aware, it's not really been used much.
Not been used.
But this temporary one, just trial it. I don't understand why IFAB look at these things or governing bodies and just can't come to an agreement. It's been run in other sports, so why not football?
The only thing that I can think, and this is out of complete ignorance because I'm not spoken to a soul about that. I would love to bang on as much as people would let me. The only thing that I can think of is if you have the head injury, the mandatory head injury assessment, whether that's 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, and you deem that person is concussed and can't continue, you automatically go into a concussion protocol. Your concussion protocol will take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is. If you fail, and I'm doing the quotation marks, if you fail the concussion protocol assessments, you're put back another week. If you fail it another week, you're put back. So automatically having fallen foul, we'll say, of the concussion protocol will mean that you are automatically not available for games. That's the only thing I can think of. But
quite rightly so as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'd be disgusted actually if a manager, knowing that a player has potentially failed these protocols or has suffered a concussion and rushes him back. 3 points aren't worth somebody's life.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's hope future conversations they come to some sort of agreement and introduce that. White cards, Des.
It's his favourite.
White smoke.
Well, for people that don't know, haven't read this information, so in Portugal they've introduced a white card. I thought it was actually a wind-up. I was like, that's April the 1st. It's one of these sort of April 1st, April Fool's things you expect. But no, they've not. They've introduced a white card, which is 4 days.
Good sportsmanship, having a positive impact in the game. I believe someone had fallen ill on the bench last night. It was Benfica against another. It was a female game, and both medical teams from either side attended to it, and the referee brandished this white card to say thank you and promote sportsmanship. It's a gimmick. It really is a gimmick.
Do you reckon if more a white envelope with a undisclosed sum of cash inside, it'd probably be better received than just a white card? I mean, do you think it's going to be part of the team talk for managers? Right, guys, I want you out there, but most of all, I want a couple of white cards a day.
It's a joke. Seriously.
It actually looked as if the referee was being quite aggressive.
I saw that and pointing
the white cards. You've done very well. You've done.
Any more of that?
Any
Well
more
done,
of that,
guys.
Yeah, and you'll get 2 white cards.
I think you can almost bet your mortgage that won't see the light of day in Scotland.
No.
Would you think you'd ever see a white card in a Celtic Rangers game?
Only in mockery.
Recent games, right enough, Kyogo could probably get one. He's always helping players up. He's always putting his hand out, and if he commits a foul, he's the first one to go over there. I'm sorry.
Well, I suppose Mr. Porteous, he would collect them, wouldn't he? He's always first there to
Maybe
help.
what they could do is if you get 3 white cards in a game, it cancels out a yellow card or a red card, and you can bring that player back on because your team has been so sportsmanlike.
Can you imagine them?
It'd be like a game of chess. They'd actually be working on it.
Feigning niceness.
Running about helping each other up and all. Like, well, what's happened to the game here?
Terry Hurlick and Roy Aitken. How we get, son?
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if that gets rolled out across Europe. But yeah, watch this space. White cards. Here we go. Guys, I don't know if you've seen the Southampton Aston Villa game at the weekend, did you?
Yeah.
Did you see what happened?
Remind me.
Well, I don't need to remind you. If you've seen it, you must have seen what happened. Players were removed from the field of play during the game.
No.
Do you know why?
Didn't see that.
Have a guess. Why would players have to be removed from the field of play?
During
a game, yeah.
Injury?
Plays halted. All players off.
All players off?
Yeah. Well, 2 squads off the pitch, yeah.
Oh, I've clearly not seen this
I've
one
not
then.
seen it. Floodlights broken down?
No.
A streaker?
Nope.
A broken toenail?
Everybody wearing earrings?
A flare?
Put us out our misery.
Right, okay. There was a drone being flown inside the stadium.
Oh, for pity's sake, seriously.
So somebody clearly wanted a good view of the game. I don't know if it was the BBC or your cameraman. I don't know, but there was a drone being flown inside the stadium. It was a bizarre moment. Yeah, but I suppose maybe if it had broken down and fallen onto a player's head, it could have caused injury. So the referee's got to do what he's got to do and remove the players from the field of play. But that leads me on to the question, right? Have you guys ever had to take all the players off the pitch for their own safety, and what happened?
Not for their own safety, but I did at Hamilton one time have to take everybody off because the floodlights failed.
Right.
And I remember all these things I got a doing afterwards because the observer, and he was from Lanarkshire, pulled me up because I didn't check the nets again before we restarted.
Oh, for goodness.
Brutal.
So that was the only one. The floodlights failed, nothing else.
Have you there?
Or if I did, I certainly can't remember.
I've not had to take the 2 teams off the park. I've had to remove myself off the park quite quickly in a few games for my own health and safety.
Checking the coupon with you?
I know. No. That was never then. Can do now. No, I've never had to take all 22 off the field of play, thankfully.
There you go. Yeah, nothing exciting in Scotland like that. And it just, I suppose, another question for you is, what's the funniest ever thing that's happened to you during a game? Or is it just pure violence you received and there's nothing funny, no?
No, not nothing.
Any streakers come on and give you a big hug, Des, Steve?
Nope.
Male or female?
Comment, no, never had. Well, other than Alec Williams, that's the only snog I've got.
You got a kiss?
Yeah,
got
a kiss. He never phones, he never writes. There was one, and there's been a few. I'm allowed to swear on here.
Absolutely.
I was a last minute sub. I don't know why I had my gear in the car. I was a last minute sub at Albion Rovers one night because I work in the vicinity. But I was so late a sub that the initial ref, his name had been read out over the tannoy.
That's
so
even better.
All intents and purposes, it was still Des that was reffing. And one of the shouts for the crowd when I came on, Conroy, you're a ref and you're an even doctor.
Obviously knows you well.
Clearly.
One of your patients.
I don't think anything, more sort of good banter with players and ones you can sort of build a relationship over the years, you can get a bit of crack. I don't think there's anything being wild. I remember I was at Morton Thistle, and it was a stupid foul. Nothing really happened, but all the crowd, it was the year Morton Thistle were going to win the league, and one of the players the crowd was anticipating him being sent off or being booked, and he's run into me and he's giving it, for F's sake, Des, I've not done anything. And I went, I know you've done nothing. I said, but what are you having for your dinner tonight? And he's looking at me, what? I was like, Saturday night. I said, I tend to go for a Chinese myself, and I'm sort of pointing and making it look as if I'm angry. And I'm going, so come on, you just go and eat your Chinese, and they send him away. And the players came by a couple of minutes later, and he went, that was brilliant. He said, I know exactly. I said, well, they're expecting me to talk to you. I said, but there's nothing in it, so are you getting a Chinese? And any time I had him after that, I won't name the player, he always runs by me, or used to run by me and say, no, it's Indian tonight, Des, or it's pizza, what are you getting?
So the refs do that quite a lot then, do they speak to a player, but really they're just doing it just to play to the galleries, going, I better just have a wee word to you. Well, not because I need to.
We did, aye.
Yeah.
I think the worst one ever done was, and it's been quoted so I can come back, Scott Agnew used to play for Rangers, and then he was at Stranraer and Dumbarton. Stranraer were playing Brecon, and it was 2-1 to Brecon with about a minute to go, and Aggie put the ball down, and I said to him, put that in the top corner, I'll give you my match fee. What does he go and do? So, Scott, if you're listening, my wife's got money now.
So you didn't even give him your match fee. That's terrible, Des.
I know. But it was a great free kick.
The only one ever.
I know.
Well, so guys, thanks very much for joining us this evening. If you want to get involved with referee, then please do so. Send us your comments, quotes, questions, whatever you've got for the guys. Yeah, and we'll catch up with you again next week.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.